from PRX.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Insurance isn't one size fits all. That's why drivers have enjoyed Progressive's Name Your Price tool for years now. With the Name Your Price tool, you tell them what you want to pay, and they'll show you options that fit your budget. So, whether you're picking out your first policy or just looking for something that works better for you and your family, they make it easy to see your options. Visit Progressive.com. Find a rate that works for you with the Name Your Price tool. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. All right, everybody, it's time to talk about the mattress I love sleeping in. We're talking about Helix Sleep, and that's my first question. Do you love the mattress you're sleeping in? Does it fit your needs, your feel preferences, what makes you comfortable? If it's not a solid yes, go to helixsleep.com/sleep and take the Helix quiz and find a mattress that you will love. Every time I'm away from my Helix this summer, I miss it. And then literally I start laughing when I get in bed now because I say, holy cow, I love this mattress. It's so comfortable. And one of the main reasons it's comfortable is I took the Helix quiz and I got matched with a mattress that fits my needs, my feel preferences, the fact that I get hot when I sleep, that I like to sleep on my side and my stomach, that I like something firmer. You deserve a mattress that you laugh when you get in because you love it. So you say, hey, I missed you a lot. Not only that, Helix comes with a 120-night sleep trial, a lifetime limited warranty. There's free shipping and seamless delivery. Helix delivers the mattress right to your door with free shipping in the U.S. They have the Happy with Helix guarantee, so you can rest easy with seamless returns and exchanges. The Happy with Helix guarantee offers a risk-free, customer-first experience designed to ensure you're completely satisfied with your new mattress. And Helix is the most awarded mattress brand, tested and reviewed by experts like Forbes and Wired. And of course, they've got a deal for our listeners. So go to helixsleep.com/sleep for 27% off site-wide, exclusive to our listeners. That's helixsleep.com/sleep for 27% off site-wide, exclusive to our listeners. Make sure to enter our show name after checkout so they know we sent you. That's helixsleep.com/sleep. Take that sleep quiz. Let me know what you got matched with. Thanks, everybody. Friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time for the podcaster who's here to keep you company and take your mind off of stuff. Whatever season it is for you, season of life, seasonings, or, seasoned. I don't know what metaphor I was trying to do. It's a sneezing season here, that's why. When I'm recording this, and that's always an interesting thing because everybody's sneezing season. Some people don't have a season of sneezing or a sneezing season. It's the latest bestseller I heard. Is it a fictional memoir? Actually, a fictional memoir. What do you mean? It only exists within the mind of a sleep podcaster. So it's a fictional, it's an unwritten. Technically, it's unwritten fictional memoir, but because we know the sleep podcaster so well, he actually has his own imprint, Gingerbread Press. Hey, are you sure it's not a new indie? Do they still have indie bands? I don't think they call them that. I think that'd be more like an album by somebody. Sneezing Season. It does sound like one. There's something out there similar, but it could be fictional memoir. Or it could just be a fictional memoir, but that would be just within me. Because unwritten. I guess if it only exists within me, then it's anyway. Oh boy, this is just the very beginning of a sleep podcast. Yeah, welcome to Sleep with Me. If you're new, we went off topic early. I don't know, but I think we could all agree. I mean, sneezing aside, because I'll edit any of my sneezing out. Sneezing season does not sound bad at all. Experiencing it, prefer not to, but, so I'm glad you're here. Welcome to Sleep With Me. It's a podcast to take your mind off of stuff, so you could fall asleep versus putting you to sleep directly. And the show does take quite some getting used to if you're new, but see how it goes. You got nothing to lose. I'm here to hang out with you for about an hour, but you don't have to pay attention to me, and there's no pressure to fall asleep either. I'm here to be with you in the deep, dark night, maybe bring you some sleepy joy and delight. Sneezy, you know what Sneezy would say, sneezy joy and delight. Or that could be another memoir. If Sneezy's joy and delight, or it could be maybe Sneezy's recipe book. You see, keep Sneezy out of the kitchen. It's just like it never worked. First of all, you got the non-sneezing stuff, and then he's sneezing. Whether if you're carrying a tray of cookies and sneezes behind you, that's not good. But also, you never know when Sneezy's going to sneeze, except that it reliably happens. I mean, I remember one Thanksgiving, we had Sneezy was holding the turkey. No turkey. Sneezy was holding the stuffing. No stuffing. Anyway, if you're new to the show, this is kind of the content we make, to be honest with you. So what we got coming up is support. Paying for the show's optional. Then a long meandering intro meant to ease you into bedtime. And then tonight we'll be doing our episodically modular series, checking into boredom. So I'm glad you're here. I work really hard. I yearn the next drive. I really want to help you fall asleep. Thanks again for coming by. And if this podcast makes your life so good, has changed your life so much that you want to support a free podcast, these are the ways, these sponsors, or you could do it directly. Thanks. Hey, everybody, this is Scoots, and I'm here to talk about tonight's sponsor, AquaTrue. Now, I should let you know right up front, I'm an AquaTrue customer. I love AquaTrue, particularly the AquaTrue countertop carafe so much. I purchased one to go along with the first one I have because I'm living in two different locations this summer, and I count on AquaTrue for clean, healthy, good-tasting water for me and my family, because 3 out of 4 homes in the U.S. has tap water that you don't want to drink on a regular basis. And that's water that looks clear, but when it comes to your overall health, you want to have something that's actually removing the contaminants in that clear water, because most standard pitcher filters, they do little to remove most contaminants. And that's why I love partnering with AquaTrue. AquaTrue is a countertop water purifier tested and certified to remove 84 contaminants, including chlorine, lead, forever chemicals, and microplastics. Its patented 4-stage reverse osmosis system goes way beyond ordinary filters for pure, healthy water you can trust. And there's no plumbing, there's no installation, and AquaTrue has been featured in Business Insider, Popular Science, and named Best Countertop Water Filter by Good Housekeeping. Join 98% of customers who say their drinking water is cleaner, safer, and healthier. Head to AquaTrue right now and get 20% off your purifier using promo code SLEEP. AquaTrue even comes with a 30-day best-tasting water guarantee or your money back. Take the guesswork out of pure, great-tasting water with this exclusive podcast-only offer now at aquatrue.com. That's AQUATRU.com, and use that promo code SLEEP, SLEEP. Get over there and join me having wonderful, wonderful clean water. Thanks. All right, everybody, it's time to talk about tonight's sponsor, ZocDoc. You've heard me talking about my experience with ZocDoc over the years, other listeners' experience with ZocDoc, whether you have new insurance, you're looking for a new provider, you're looking for a specialist, you just moved, you're looking for an appointment now or soon with someone that takes your insurance, you're looking to hear reviews from other verified patients, ZocDoc has you covered with all of that. ZocDoc is a sponsor of tonight's episode, and I don't want you to have to go through stuff like I have, where you're trying to find somebody that takes your insurance, somebody has open appointments and is available. Well, ZocDoc solves all that. It's a free app and website that lets you search and compare local in-network doctors. They have more than 150,000 providers within 200 plus specialties across all 50 states. ZocDoc's website has tons of reviews from real patients and detailed doctor profiles to help you choose the right one. You can see actual appointment openings and click to book a visit right there on the website or the app. And appointments happen fast, usually within 24 to 72 hours. You can even score same-day appointments. And ZocDoc is free to use. That's right, ZocDoc is free to use. Your health matters, and taking care of yourself shouldn't be complicated. Find and book the right doctor with ZocDoc. Head to ZocDoc.com/sleep to get started and check that appointment off your to-do list. That's ZocDoc.com/sleep. ZocDoc.com/sleep. Thanks, everybody. Hey, everybody, it's Scoots. And a lot of this show, I don't know if you're like me, you started dreading bedtime on Fridays, but I did. As soon as Friday came, I was like, I don't even want to think about what Sunday night's going to be like. All day Saturday, I was worried about it. That anxiety, that stress, and that dread. And people telling you, just stop thinking about it. Just shut your brain off. Just forget about it. But I never could. And I've heard from thousands and thousands of listeners over the years who've tried everything. And this podcast just happens to be the thing that works for you. And that's... it means so much to me, right? I dreaded bedtime so much, and now I can give you something different, something to look forward to or at least feel neutral about. So Sleep With Me has offered you that kind of relief in the deep, dark night. And know that it also offers thousands of other people that relief in the deep, dark night. And I'd love to have you be a part of this thing, whether it's supporting the show directly at Sleep With Me Plus, that's sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus, letting people know about the podcast, spreading the word, and getting surprised by Scoots with a Sleep With Me Plus membership, or letting me know, Scoots, I am a super listener. I do want the best experience. I listen all night long. I fall asleep fast, but you just can't afford to support the show, and you can't spread the word about the show. For whatever reason, we'll match you with somebody that'll support the show for you. In fact, Cornelia already has done it for a bunch of people. So... let me know through the contact form on our website. But if you're also one of those people that's like, I want to be like Cornelia, a part of something so much bigger than me, just support the show on Sleep With Me Plus and let me know you want to support it for someone else too. Your $60 a year won't just support the show for you. Your $120 a year won't just support the show for you. It'll support it for somebody else who just can't. Because there are people I hear from all the time. I just can't do it. I can't spread the word about the show, and that's just too much for me. We're here for you. I'm here for you. You're a part of something too. Even if you can't let one person know about this podcast, I've been there too. We're all here together in the deep, dark night. We're all a part of something. And most people are just, if you want to just opt out of being a part of something, that's an option too. So yeah, I think that sums it up. It's probably confusing. Thanks. Oh, Mystery Bard, a lot of people help out on our show. Who are they?
Chris Posty Poster Son sounds like an earful. Wrote the theme song. Edits episodes too. Carl W. the Legend. Also edits episodes. Ashley, Kenny, Scotty, Jennifer. Runner. Eric and the team at Astound are on the website. I am the Mystery Bard. I do the lullabies, yeah. I do commissions at jonathanmann.net. I'll write a song for you. Any reason at all. You can tell me the story and I'll make it personal. You see the kindness shine straight on through when the listeners form their own Facebook group. Keith, Stacy, Sarah, Julie, and Jennifer. These are your moderators. Get support dear Scooter on Patreon. Buy the merch and support the sponsors. You can find anything you want at sleepwithmepodcast.com. And we're so proud that we could dance. Rusty Biscuit, Lois, Anna like banana. Leah does the transcripts.
Thanks, Mr. Bard. And remember, there's tons of free ways to help the podcast out. If you're one of those listeners who have been saying, hey, don't try to support the show directly. You could follow or subscribe to the show on your podcast app of choice so you get the episodes as they come out. You could comment or like episodes where you could do that. And you could let somebody know about the podcast. Those are all huge, huge ways to help the show, and I really appreciate it. Thanks, everybody. And what do you say we get on with the show? Hey, are you up all night tossing, turning, mind racing, trouble, getting to sleep, trouble, staying asleep? Well, welcome. This is Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. We do with a bedtime story. Eventually, all you need to do is get in bed, turn out the lights and press play. I'm going to do the rest. What I'm going to attempt to do is create a safe, comfortable place. A nice place where you could set aside whatever is keeping you awake, whether that's thoughts, things on your mind about the past, the present, the future, thoughts that are just coming up, thoughts about book titles, about imaginary imprints, or I don't think we did an episode about gingerbread person. I don't think Gingerbread Press ever came up, or why that was my imaginary imprint. Oh yeah, I publish all. I mean, I don't actually. Gingerbread Press would publish all my fiction. Fictionally, they would publish all my fictional pieces of fiction and fictional nonfiction. But I still have. They've never been. None of it's ever been produced, even within me, to be published. My output of titles is, you say, prolific. I'm prolific at forgetting the titles of books I make up. But it could be thoughts. I mean, I'll tell you another thing that's prolific. My thinking at bedtime, or my thoughts, my feelings that come up related to those thoughts. Sometimes they're feelings that are just there. They're prolific and persistent. It could be physical sensations, changes in time, temperature, routine, seasonal stuff, travel, guests. You could be in the middle of something, going through something, getting over something. Maybe you work a different schedule. Whatever it is, I'm here to try to help. And by the only way I know how, which is just talking about almost nothing and keeping you company. But as a mild distraction from all the stuff I just listed. But also at this part of the show, I'd like you to know, I really am glad you're here, because I know what it's like not being able to sleep. And I've had on and off trouble getting to sleep, trouble staying asleep, trouble waking up early, thoughts, feelings, physical sensations, all the other stuff. And I know for me, it's not a positive experience, in that, it's something that it's a bit out of my control. And that other people during the day don't quite understand. They always give me the impression that I'm doing it wrong, too much effort, not enough effort, just relax, don't forget to close your eyes. Thanks. You trying to sleep with your eyes closed? Oh, and then if someone asks you that, by the way, just take a breath and answer it. But know that whatever your answer is probably incorrect. They're going to give you feedback. I mean, I guess if I was like this podcast lets me feel a little bit more adjusted, I'd say, hey, dude, by the way, I heard you're having trouble sleeping. Let me ask you a question. You sleeping? Do you close your eyes when you go to sleep? Well, that's a great question. What makes you ask that? I'm curious before I answer it. Maybe that's the best way forward with a question like that, because what I found in the past, because they might say, you breathe through your mouth or your nose, like things like that. I'm talking about regular people out there in the world, They say, yeah, I sleep in my, I do try to sleep in my, oh boy, you close your eyes? No, you got to try, are you sure are you closing them too hard? I mean, it seems like it, looking you over, that furrow in your, maybe you're over, are you sure you're not over closing your eyes or under closing? I mean, it's, but if I would have just asked, now, the unfortunate thing is I don't ever remember the good ideas I get necessarily. That's a great question. What makes you, before I answer, what makes you ask that question? Well, I mean, I'm in my experience of sleeping good every night of my life. I found I may be an expert at, what I say, okay, great. But what they don't realize is that there is this loneliness. And for me, it's a profound loneliness, even when I'm not alone, even when that's someone that cares about me offering inadvertent, not good advice, that it kind of impacts me. And the good news is that if you've experienced anything like that or something totally different but non-positive around sleep, it's shared here. We have this common general thing, sleeplessness or trouble getting to sleep, trouble staying asleep, trouble waking up. And we have probably thousands and thousands of different flavors of the thoughts, feelings, and physical sensations and everything that comes with it. But a lot of it's non-positive. And there are enough people listening that whatever it is that brought you here, there are other people that share that or share something very similar. And you don't have to breathe or relax, but they are glad you're here. And they really hope you do get some relief from this show, or I can introduce you to something else that can help you out. So, yeah, I'm really, really glad you're here. And so are a bunch of other people. Now, the way the show works is I send my voice across the deep, dark night. I use lulling, soothing, creaky, dulcet tones, pointless meanders, and superfluous tangents. So it means I go off topic, I get mixed up, I forget what I was talking about, then I repeat myself, then I go on a tangent. But it's all to keep you, to be a misdirection from whatever it is that's keeping you awake. And to make bedtime somewhat neutral, maybe even possible, so that you no longer have a bedtime you dread. You say, well, at least I got that podcast guy. I mean, he's barely humorous, and he's sneezing season. He's going to keep repeating that, and then he doesn't judge me on how I close. He doesn't have an eye judge. He doesn't talk to me about his. I don't even know what to do with that. Are my eyes closed or not? When I'm trying to go to sleep? Oh, yeah, you got to hold them open till, then you just close them quick. And then, boom, it works. You got to surprise yourself. Surprise, close your eyes. I was trying to think of what exactly they would tell me, this imaginary proxy right now. Have you ever written a book? Oh, yeah, I was an uncredited writer on Sneezy's Joyous Delights. Oh, okay, great. So wait, you're saying just close my eyes fast. Surprise, yeah, it's called the surprise eye closure. SEC. Surprise eye closure, okay. And then boom, you're out. Trust me, it works. Works every time. My entire life it's worked. But you're intentionally closing your eyes, right? Exactly, but it's a surprise to my eyes, at least. My eyes don't know. I get what you're trying to say, and I don't appreciate it. But I'm just saying, you're close. Yeah, but my eyes are separate. Okay, no, I agree. I guess it sounds like it's working for you. Do you ever pretend like it's kind of like a reverse surprise party, huh? Like you're turning out the lights, and then you're not saying surprise. But in a sense, that's what's happening. Yeah, you're right about that. That'd be a good surprise, a reverse surprise. Could you think, I think the two of us could come to an understanding that would be a different way of having a surprise party. You'd have to have a gathering of people with some sort of ruse, and then you'd have the birthday participant there. And then in the middle of the gathering, you'd have to make sure there's, that it's like nobody's moving. Then you turn out the lights and you say, surprise. I couldn't do that because I'd fall asleep. Okay. But I would that would be a pretty good surprise. But surprise. Okay, I got to move. Surprise, I'm off topic again. So hopefully the show changes your relationship with bedtime. So at least you feel neutral about it. You get the sleep you need and deserve on a regular basis. But when most people get here, this show, you're skeptical, you're doubtful, you have a reasonable expectation of what a sleep podcast might be. And this show's a bit different or very different than what you expected and what you'd consider reasonable. And that's okay. This show's very different. It does take 2 or 3 tries to get used to it. That's just what most people that have reviewed the show said. It took me 2 or 3 tries to get used to the show. So give it a few tries and see how it goes. You really have nothing to lose. And I have a website set up, sleepwithmepodcast.com/no thank you. So if you discover, I tried the show 2 or 3 tries, it didn't work for me, just go to that website. It has other sleep podcasts and sleepy stuff on there. Or if you already know, you're like, I don't think this show's for me. It's then check the website out right now. But give it 2 or 3 tries, see how it goes. Because most people have found, that on the second or third try, they're just like, oh, wait a second. Now I realize you are always going nowhere. So see how it goes. This is a podcast you don't listen to, but you don't not listen to it either. It's kind of like background noise, an out of focus picture, TV on in the other room, a show streaming under your pillow, clouds in the sky, sand passing through your hands, long boring lecture, wind in the trees, or just a friend on the phone. Or across the room talking to you on and on and on about nothing, but in a way you're like kind of engaged but disengaged at the same time. And that's something to adjust to. You say, well, I can partially listen to the show. Oh, yeah. Also, this is a sleep podcast that I've been making for well over 10 years, and I'm not here to put you to sleep. There's no pressure to fall asleep with the show, no expectation. I'm here to the very end of the show, whether you're awake or asleep. So the shows are over an hour, so you don't have to think about when you're going to fall asleep. I'm here to keep you company, whether you're awake or asleep. There's people listening who can't sleep at all, who need a break during the day, who have a different job where they need something to listen to, or waking up in the middle of the night. Whatever it is, I'm here for them and for you. So no pressure to fall asleep. No effort needed. This is just a show with ease. We're just chilling together. And because my job's it's to be your bore friend, to be here for you, to be your bore bae, your bore sib, your bore bud, your neighbor, your boreman, your bores, your borebee, your bore sib, your bore cuz, your Boris Borbowski, your big Borbowski, your Boris Borlov, big Borbowski, chairman of the boards, your best bore friend forever, and just hang out with you while you fall asleep. So that idea, even though we've tried it before on and off throughout all our lives, whether with people or listening to something and repurposing it, having a regular bore friend is different. It's kind of like a sleepover, but this show is like before the sleepover, the sleep starts. It's during there's some giggling going on. Post, we're all chilling out, but it's like in that lull in the sleepover, but before you fall asleep, after the higher activity, movies or snack, whatever goes on in the sleepovers, and. Yeah, so that's what a bore friend does. I'm just here for you to talk about nothing, almost nothing. The one other thing I like to run through for the show is the structure, because we've been making the show a long time. This version of the podcast benefits the maximum amount of people it can, but you can adjust how you listen if you become a regular listener, how you like to listen. But if you're new, this structure can throw you off. So we started the show out with a greeting. Friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. So you feel seen and welcomed in. Maybe I say something silly. You say, oh, okay, I might check this show out. Then there's support. So paying for the show is optional. If you get so much out of the show, you want to pay for it, or you like some of the ads, you can do that. But for most people, they prefer this free version of the show. Then after that is a long, meandering intro, separate from the support. It's a show within a show. And the intro is about 20 minutes or so long, sometimes somewhere between 15 and 30 minutes. But the intro follows a familiar structure every time. But then I go off topic. I just said you go off topic about things. And you never know. Like Bore Splainer, that's one of the people we ran into. And then my part of my brain that likes to come up with book titles. And again, I said, man, I like that. Sneezing season. Maybe that's already a book. Season of Sneezing. That's a little bit different. I'd say that's probably nonfiction, I mean, it could be Season of Sneezing. Oh, Sneezing a Season. Season of Season. Now it's also a tongue twister. Season of Sneezing. Season of Sneezing, though. That's nice. I can't believe we missed that one. Season of Sneezing sounds more like it's in some sort of anthology, short story collection, like maybe mysteries. Season of Sneezing, though, you could pretty much do anything with that, just like sneezing season. But, anyway, I got to get back. The intro goes on and on and on. But I go through similar, every intro is new, but with familiar structure. That's what I was saying. And the newness is important because whatever it is for a lot of people that listen to the show, whatever keeps us awake is constantly adjusting. And so using something repetitive just doesn't help. But having something to listen to that's familiar but new every time kind of helps, because you say, oh, there's my boyfriend again going on and on and on about nothing. So that's that's what the intro is. But it also is meant to ease you into bedtime, not to put you to sleep. So most people are not in bed listening to the intro. They're getting ready for bed. They're winding down. They're doing some chill activity so that the intro can ease you into bedtime. Now, you could listen, and there's a small percentage of people fall asleep, but the intro is our kind of community time, like that part of the sleepover, right? And so that, like, it's a community get-together time, I guess. So that's the intro. It's like 15 to 20 minutes long. Then there'll be support. Then there'll be our bedtime story tonight. And yeah, all told, I'll be here a bit over an hour. If you decide you don't like the intros, we have a version of this podcast called Bedtime Stories from Sleep With Me with just the stories. But the majority of people, and yeah, that's available in any podcast app too. But like a lot of people like this easing into bedtime part. But if you don't, you don't. Or if you like to build your playlists with both, you could do that. You could set sleep timers, whatever works. But just see how it goes at first. And yeah, we'll be here a bit over an hour. And I love making the show because I know what it's like. And I know it's hard. And I know there are people out there like that are like, well, just close your eyes. Surprise. Close your eyes, surprise, like, or whatever. You just close your eyes quick. That doesn't necessarily, never failed me. Probably. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you're closing your eyes wrong. And I say, okay, let's see. But we all have had someone say something in that general vicinity, right? You must be closing your eyes wrong. I mean, and then you're like, wait a second, I never thought, am I? And that doesn't help either, right? So don't worry about it. We're here together and we get it. And I love making the show because of that. You say, yeah, it's okay. I'm just here to hang out with you. So let's see how it goes. And myself and a team of people work really hard on this show. And that's really only important for the people that listen to the show 5 times a week for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years. Listen to more than one episode a night. If you're in that group, please consider either supporting one of these sponsors or supporting the show directly so we can be here for you and all the other people that just listen from time to time. Thanks. All right, everybody, it's time to talk about tonight's sponsor, a new sponsor, Drip Drop. You know I love being outside, particularly in the summertime, whether it's running or biking or my favorite activity, taking a long walk. And that's why I love partnering with Drip Drop. Having Drip Drop on hand helps me avoid dehydration before it happens, so I don't hit that low energy or feeling tired due to not being hydrated. Now, Drip Drop is doctor-developed, proven fast hydration that helps your body and mind work better. Think support for busy days, long workouts, summer travel, and everything in between. Because hydration isn't something you just do when you're behind. It's how you stay ahead. Drip Drop uses science-based formulas for rapid hydration so you'll feel results fast while getting 3 times the electrolytes of leading sports drinks. Drip Drop is trusted by firefighters, medical professionals, and over 90% of top college and pro sports teams. And like I said, it's perfect for staying active all summer long. It's fast hydration built with what matters most. Now, all of these products taste amazing. There's 16 original flavors and 8 zero sugar plus options. And oh boy, did I enjoy that fruit punch. I had it before the podcast. No mouth noises. That's the amazing thing. I'm hydrated and I sound good. So this summer, I'm going to make Drip Drop a part of my daily routine. And to make it easy, Drip Drop has flexible subscription options so you're never stuck without proven fast hydration, whether you're hitting the gym, juggling work, or just trying to keep up with an always-on calendar. And of course, they got a deal for you, everybody. Right now, Drip Drop is offering Sleep With Me listeners 20% off your first order. Go to dripdrop.com and use a promo code SLEEP. That's dripdrop.com, promo code SLEEP for 20% off. Stock up now at dripdrop.com and use that promo code SLEEP. That's Drip Drop. Thanks, everybody. All right, everybody, it's time to talk about tonight's sponsor, Quince. And not only is Quince a sponsor that solved the problems with my bedding, the shirts I wear when I travel or want to look good, but now Quince is providing me daily peace of mind and cutting through that nutrition noise. You know, everybody's got advice. Oh, take this, eat this. For me, it gets overwhelming, confusing. I just want something simple. And Quince has my back because now they have Quince Superfood Greens. Greens cuts right through that nutrition noise with one simple daily scoop that helps you fill your nutrient gaps and support your overall health. Quince Superfood Greens combines 78 high-quality ingredients into just one scoop. It has vitamins, minerals, probiotics, and whole food-sourced greens. It supports energy, gut health, and covers your nutrient gaps without a complicated routine. It's made in the USA and rigorously third-party tested. It's free from soy, stevia, major allergens, and has no artificial sweeteners. And this is my favorite part. Like everything Quince does, it's thoughtfully made and priced really well. At $40 for 30 servings, it's less than half of the leading greens brands. Quince works directly with trusted manufacturers, so you're getting premium wellness ingredients without the inflated markup. And especially with travel this summer, it makes a big difference for me putting a scoop of Quince Superfood Greens in a glass of cold water and knowing all of my nutrient bases are covered. So fill the gaps your diet leaves behind. Go to quince.com/sleepwithme for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/sleepwithme for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/sleepwithme. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Thanks, everybody.
Everybody, Scoots here. Welcome to our episodically modular series, Checking into Boredom. And while the narrator of the story will fill you in on most of the details, this is a story about a bedtime storyteller who works at a chain of hotels called The Hotel. And, his job is to tell bedtime stories to the clients of the hotel. Don't like who everything was sleeping with me. There's a little bit more going on. These episodes are particularly episodic, which means that, and they're modular, meaning you can listen to them in any order. And while they all exist in the same world, each episode, it kind of begins and ends, is self-contained. As of now, yeah. Yeah, I mean, as far as I could tell. I mean, everything, I don't know. This could be serialized if Scooter was more competent, but his job is actually to only do one thing, tell bedtime stories and uncover clues. But you know who I have a clue you'd love to hear from and who I'd love to never bid adieu to, except before I record the show, because he does have uncontainable joy. There's joy leaking out of his pores. I probably said that before. Like, because he doesn't just, he may, like, perspirate. Is there a band called Perspiration Joy? Or maybe I could be one of the Scooter's future nicknames. Joy Perspiration. Well, that's different. The joy of perspiration, I mean, that could be a long list. He may excrete or excrete just sounds not good, but perspire, it's oozing out of you, though. Pure joy, except, well, I guess it's not pure because it's probably mixed with whatever that, like, isn't there stuff called sebum, or is that like a part of your, is that part of one of your derma? Is it derma? If it's more than one, if a bunch of dermises get together, are they dermi or are they dermises? Do you know what I'm saying? He shrugged. I wish I had a good dermis-based. I wish I had better is it dermal? I'm getting dermal. Because I was going to say something. Oh well, like is epi mean the peak of whether it's the epi of joy or the epidermis, that's like the top dermis, right? Anyway, I wish he packed a thermos that he could drink from silently, because even when he doesn't slurp, but he he savors a lot. Like his silent savoring is also loud. But we love him so much because he gives so much. He comes all the way on stored thermal solar wind energy. He comes here There was a long process of that. Not too long, he just said, but he comes here he comes all the way from the greater Los Angeles area. Do you hail from there? I mean, I know, like, long term, I'm just talking about specifically, it was that he just shrugged again. He doesn't pretend to know the answer if he doesn't know it. It's another thing I like about him. But my favorite thing is that he loves the listeners, and he appreciates me, tolerates me. Okay, tolerates me. He puts the boots in Puss some Boots. It's our Hollywood area, greater Los Angeles area announcer, Mr. Antonio Banderas. There's the friends behind the binary. There's the ladies, the gentlemen, the boys, the girls. It's time to check into boredom. Ding, bing, like Rob has a podcast, a bell. Ring, ring, ringing. So good to be here in your ears and put you to sleep. Thanks, everybody. Yeah. That's Mr. Antonio Banderas, and this is Checking into Boredom. Hello, everyone. I'm your narrator here, and I'll be doing a bit more narrating tonight. Welcome to thanks for checking into Boredom, which takes place at various hotels run by The Hotel, which is the name of the company that owns the hotels. If you were to look into the history of this company, I mean, you'd have a tough time because not only because of the generic name, but if you had the ability to do it, you'd see that this company has been around for a long, long time. Some might say as connections to ancient things. For these hotels are scattered around the world in locations that people visit, but they're usually like they don't spend as long at other places they visit. They don't just, obviously they don't just pass through, and sometimes they may go in these places for just a day trip, but they are interesting places nonetheless. But there's also something else going on at the hotel. In fact, something going on that the employees can no longer speak clearly of. For each hotel sits near or on in this tonight's episode, actually, something like a rift. This one happens to just sit near more than one, not just a one, like an area where worlds kind of intersect. Scooter in the past has referred to it as a transverse plane. This could be a place where you do access a transverse plane, though they're always hidden. But beyond that, there's activity on the other side of these rifts, much like an analogy of your times when they split the city of Berlin in two parts, and there was a cool dance-off happening. Something similar is happening with the other world that's on the other side of the rift in this world. And there's people checking. There's at least in our world, not only is the hotel in charge, but working for the hotel is a secret organization. I don't know if they call it the periodic table. Maybe that's already been used, but they are like the higher level agents, I guess we would say. They would be named after the periodic table of elements. If they're kind of similar to other fictions you may be familiar with code names or code numbers. And but that's all happening outside of our story. For our story, it takes place each episode at a particular location of the hotel, featuring the bedtime storyteller employed by the hotel, who we'll just say, tonight they checked in under the name Tangerine Tangent, which always gets a chuckle out of the employees since Tangerine Tangent's stay is comped Tangerine Tangent doesn't carry, Tangerine Tangent is not an agent, so they don't carry multiple IDs. And also it just makes people giggle when you try to check into a hotel that you're kind of already checked into since you somewhat work there. And the manager probably said, they're going to be checking under some name, typically Noir Chardonnay, but they keep saying they're going to change the name. So they said, oh, Tangerine Tangent. Oh, welcome. Most employees giggle, and most employees just work at the hotel, but not the bedtime storyteller. While they're not part of the management or the periodic table of elements, they do get assignments because not only are they telling a bedtime story to a client that the hotel has invited to use this service that's compliments of the hotel, but you have to be invited. It's not something that, obviously that if they were, it's a exclusive benefit by invite only. But Scooter's secondary job is to discover something happening. The client usually has had some sort of contact, inadvertently or advertently, with the other side of the rift. But Scooter's job is to not let them know that, but to find out clues that more responsible people could put to use. But now that the hotel is under a little bit better watch from the other side, they can't communicate directly. Scooter gets his assignment, and then over what could be an hours-long process with Sundry's supervisor, one of the people of the hotel's management, they have to sit down and walk Scooter through the who, what, where, when, why, and Scooter ideally provides the how of the client and all those things. But I'll walk you through tonight, because if we did just the conversations where they had to take multiple breaks, where the Sundry supervisor tried to use subtext and indirect things and metaphors to tell Scooter these simple facts, it would take all day or all night in your case. But let's start with the where. Where are we? We're in the Blue Ridge Mountains, part of the Appalachian Mountains, and we're at the Hotel Stone Grove. And the Hotel Stone Grove is a stone hotel, or it looks like a giant stone hotel built from boulders and rocks. I believe granite, but I kind of dozed off when I was listening to Scooter and the supervisor talking. And while, within the granite and around the granite is stone and or wood and steel, the hotel gives you an illusion that it was just like that it was almost like it was a pile of boulders that was somehow made into a grand hotel, and like was were the boulders already there? It's a feat of imagination and engineering. And it's beautiful with a grand lobby and a love of the local foods and all of the things that are important to the people of the area. In this case, one particular thing, in the case of tonight, who is our who, and who knows if her name's real or not, but she goes by Maple Mortz, and she's a artisanal maker or a bespoke maker of grits, and you'll hear a lot more about that as our story unfolds, but she has her own mill, not far from the Stone Grove Hotel, or the bank, that she works with, depending on how you define it. And she has her own buildings other than the mill where she does a lot of the work. And she makes very labor-intensive, small batch grits. And currently, the hotel is her only client. And she has some other dreams that Scooter will probably work to uncover for her. But currently, her grits are served 2 to 3 times a day at the restaurants at the hotel. And they're very, like, you'd be very interested to try them. But there's a twist to it, of course, and a twist to the grits themselves. For there is the what is that? Some element of the grits comes from the other side. And that was what Scooter was brought in for. Was she was having she's as a part of her contract, she gets to live at the hotel, and on the outskirts of some of the hotel's property, she gets to use some of that for her production of her grits. Now she doesn't grow the corn, but she definitely uses a few different corns from the area, and each corn offers a different property. Is it part of her recipe, we'll say, of the grits that she makes. But it wasn't as simple as, which corn could it be that's coming from the other world? No. So they couldn't, the hotel could not figure it out. And she was having trouble sleeping. So they brought in Scooter to figure out some sort of clue. We don't even have any clue at all. And the hotel's trying to operate as delicately as possible so that they don't bring any more attention to themselves from the other side. For right now, it is a cool dance-off. And whether the other side is aware of the hotel or not, they want to be very careful. And of course, the good thing is no one would suspect a bedtime storyteller of having any responsibilities as a part of ancient, something to, keep our world, and say, okay, let's keep a watch on these riffs. So, what is the grits as of right now? Some part of the grit, some ingredient, or part of the process comes from the other world. There's some sort of, again, outside of our story, test or way they can figure this out. The why, that who, what, where, when, who, what, where, who, what, where. We covered where, what, where, when right now. But actually, I'm going to catch up on some of the story already. Where, when, why. The why is remains a mystery. I think maybe even to the management and the periodic table of what is happening. The why, but, why, who, what, where, when, why, how. So I think we have all those elements in place. But Scooter's been actually working as Tangerine Tangent. He said, you could call me TT. And they said, but don't get it mixed up with the TT from Pickwick Papers. And Maple said, I'm not familiar with any of that. Can I just call you? And Scooter said, yeah. So first, Scooter did take time, and Scooter knew very little about grits, but he was very excited to see the mill. And I guess who wouldn't be, right? A mill like runs on water, and it's kind of a cool thing, right? So first he went to the mill. Then he just said, okay, well, what about the stones at the mill? Okay, can you get can you chip off? That did not work out. Of course, he tried to bump into the stones. That didn't work. He asked about the stones. And then actually he asked so much about, he said, man, so actually these I have other, she actually gave him pieces of the stones, which fit because he liked to rub things in his hand anyway. And she even said, maybe you'll be a little more quiet around here. Because he would say, I love the sound of the mill running. And she'd say, I do too, when I can hear it. So she did give him pieces of both millstones. And he returned those to the management, and they said, no, it's not the millstones. And he kind of went through the process step by step with her. But she was always holding something back, which makes sense because he was also getting to know her better and her dreams, who she was, how did she get here. But she, of course, was protective of her recipe, and not because, like, in small batch grits, you know, it's a labor of love, or of love of something, right? It might be the grits, it might be the process, it might be the chemistry, it might be the end result. For her, it was the love of something else that led her there. But it was also that the hotel was buying, as soon as they detected the grits and it became to their attention, you know, they approached her and said, hey, we'd love to have your grits at our hotel, but we, you know, prefer to have an exclusive agreement, but we could give you a place to live. We'll compensate you. We'll sell, you know, we could sell the grits at the hotel as well. And she kind of was like, agreed to it because it was, because she had a dream, right? Anyway, it was there's a lot of overhead with these, like with them running a mill. So it gave her a little bit more predictability. But she was like, man, I think the hotel is going to, like, what are they going to need me for if they figure out all of, you know, the ingredients in the grits. But there was something else Scooter detected, too. But Scooter went through the process with her and got to know her better. I'm not sure which to tell you next. More of Scooter's mistakes or how he got to know her. Some more of his mistakes or just was, okay, so you get the corn, then you dry the corn. So he was like, what about the corn's dried on these metal frames, right? What about the metal the corn's dried on? He was positive that was it. If it's not the millstone, it's got to be that. No, it's not that. Okay, what about the second drying that happens later? Could it be that? No, ended up, so these were all a little part of the processes. But he got to know Maple better. Now, Maple was not, she wasn't part of a family history of grits making. In fact, her only experience with grits until she went down this became her like, until she headed down this path. She was, her first experience with grits was as part of the Camptown Kids, which was a youth organization. Now there's similar organizations about like Scouts, that's a little bit gendered, right? But Camptown Kids, actually was started like, a long time, not all the way back, but almost predated or started around the same time as these other organizations. But you may, if you're listening to this, you're like, I never heard of Camptown Kids. Maybe there's a local version of it, but there was a national, Camptown, oh, she'll kind of explain it maybe. Yeah, I guess I could, okay, yeah, so I was doing, I'll just fill in the relevant, conversation she had with Scooter, which was, I did, that was the first time I ever had grits, was at Camptown Kids camp. Did you say Camptown Kids camp? Yeah, it was at Camptown Kids, and it was a camp there, and they served grits, and that's, it's kind of strange, the way things go full circle. But yeah, I loved being in Camptown Kids, and actually then I went to school to kind of study being as part of like a kind of youth organizations and education. And I was going to get a job as a part of Camptown Kids. But the organization just unfortunately it wasn't sustainable. The fundraising and the funding couldn't keep up. There was only apparently there was only room for a couple of these youth organizations as far as support goes, more localized versions, but they had taken on, they'd kind of committed to being a national organization, and unfortunately, yeah, they sold off all of the stuff to a company that's, sitting on the name and everything. They're not using it, but I loved being, I thought of my career would be at Camptown Kids. I loved it so much. And also, I'll be honest, this is what I was saying, why does it go full circle? Well, as this was a conversation they were having as they were walking through the different production parts of her grits business. Yeah, you can kind of see these things here, but, so at Camptown Kids, we sold peanut brittle instead of cookies or popcorn or whatever. That was another thing. Once another organization started selling peanut brittle, then we had to switch to candies, and it just didn't do as well. But when I was a kid, it was peanut brittle. And yeah, we had a song when Camptown Kids do good, Camptown. It was to that song, Camptown Kids sell peanut brittle all the weekend long. Peanut brittle. Camptown Kids sell peanut brittle. And there was other things, because it was so there was 1 year that that Dolly got involved. The Dolly, you know what I mean? Like not the Dolly, no, not the Dolly from the Sheepy Kind of Bedtime. The Dolly, yeah, from Dollyland, and beloved, especially where I lived. And the person that sold nationwide the most peanut brittle was going to meet Dolly. And she was my heroine, and so I was like, I'm gonna meet Dolly, and I sold the most peanut brittle ever. I really would, I would go to farmers markets, I would sit outside the grocery store. I also would go to the airport. People, no kids ever thought to go to the airport. I mean, this was a different time, but I said this is perfect for a flight. It's got everything you need. Then big hiking events, running, biking, because it's kind of like it's like a more tasty version of. This was before the big granola bar boom too. So anyway, peanut brittle. This particular brittle was really tasty. I know it's kind of lost its charm. It definitely lost it for me because I ate a lot of it too. So you'd think I'd be in the peanut brittle business, but yeah. So I was supposed to meet Dolly, and then unfortunately, there was some sort of guarantee the Camptown Kids, organization made to Dolly, and they didn't. It was not Dolly's fault. Is all I'm saying. But they had to cancel it. And I was really disappointed. I said, I'm not selling, but I stayed involved. I was like, I'm not selling. Now, maybe that also became to me that I was like a part of the fall of Camptown Kids because I was the greatest peanut brittle seller. And I stopped selling peanut brittle. But I was really sad about not meeting Dolly. And it's kind of been something that I've dreamed about my whole life. And then I had, once things didn't work out with Camptown Kids, I was teaching, but I was kind of longing for something more. And then I found out about this, I found out about this mill, that, I was a little bit detached from a family member, and I thought I was going to inherit this mill. Unfortunately, what I inherited was the bills for the mill, and the mill, but and I also kind of imagined I'd live in the mill, and then I got there. Now the good news is the mill is incredibly it's a functional mill, and it's a beautiful mill, but you can't. It's not really good for. It's good for milling, milling things. And I'm a practical person. So, and at first this happened to be during this all happened at the end of a school year. So I spent that entire time off, trying to figure out, well, how can I lease this mill to somebody that would grind stuff? How can I make this mill, if I can't live here, like work? And at first I was, like there was a couple, I was able to kind of get by, but I still was like, this is a puzzle I've got to solve. And then I realized, okay, one of the things you grind here is corn. Pretty good. And there's pretty okay, so then you can grind the corn, really good corn options. The more the mills, as long as the water's running, the mill's running, right? So then I started grinding corn, and I, transferred schools, so I was like I was basically working a second job, grinding corn, and these corn mixes, and the corn, would be used for different things, right? But I started learning more and more about the different corns and the different processes, and then the grits, and then I started learning more about all the nuances of making grits. And, then some people were coming here and grinding their grits, and I was learning from them, and they're happy to teach me. And then I would go and work and eventually I left my teaching job, and I kind of got to be I had a few mentors who kind of walked me through their processes and all these different nuances of making grits, until I kind of stumbled upon what was working for me. And, and then something kind of magic happened, and the hotel got their attention, and then everything became sustainable. But then it was like this weird thing of then my grits became this exclusive thing at the hotel, which in a sense made them more desirable, but also limited me in a sense. And I kind of always felt like, something's not sitting right with me. But then it ends up that in Dolly land, they're going to open up this, they're trying to appeal to everybody. So they have a very, now the hotel's not running it, but they're opening a really, really nice hotel with a really, really nice restaurant. And they're going to base it on local cuisines and really people that put their heart and soul into the cuisines. And every dish, everything they serve is going to have a story behind it. And the chef heard about my grits. And then I talked to the management. And that's why one of the things that's going on with me is that pretty soon the chef is going to come and taste my grits. I don't think Dolly's coming, but if they accept my grits, the hotel has said they'll work with me, and they'll let me out of my contract, maybe even, and I'll be able to sell my grits I'll be working. I mean, the chef said Dolly eats at the restaurant, and that she's very great with everybody. So I may meet Dolly. And, I mean, that's what's been going on with me. I'm glad to give you my tour of my property, too. So then this was kind of as they were walking through in the different processes by Scooter getting to know her and how you make grits. But then things led to the point where Scooter kept making mistakes, and it was, he sensed there was something else there. Of course, he kind of knew because he worked for the hotel, but he was still not sure if her grits from the other world were inadvertent or advertent, right? Had she been given something from another world, or did she accidentally discover it? But he had a sense. And so then she was like, why haven't you tried my grits? Let's go to the restaurant. And Scooter said, why don't you pretend like I'm the chef from Dollyland, and serve me your grits. Now, another thing you should know is that as soon as the hotel, it was an incredibly convoluted process, but once they knew that some element of her grits came from another world, they would buy all her grits. And then they attempted to replicate her recipe, pretty closely, and serve that in the restaurant, not her actual grits. They're buying her grits, and, they were using them sustainably, but they are from another world. So the grits in the restaurant, while they were in the gift shop, while they were her grits, they actually weren't. But then they also had, just in case she was going to eat at the restaurant and try her own grits, they had them ready if she was going to check up, on the chef or whatever. Because the hotel's pretty well, or even convoluted. I mean, if they can handle Scooter, they can handle something like this. But this particular day, she went to the kitchen, in an off hour, and she prepared her grits. And she was going to do like this grit progression for Scooter. And he discussed it with management in an indirect way, but was like, I'm going to try the real grits. I'm sure it'll be fine. But I think this is something that needs to happen because I have to earn. We can't, we still haven't got to the bottom of this. We still don't know if this is, she has had contact with the other world intentionally, or they intentionally reached out to her, or this is just something drifting in, even on the wind. So he went to eat her grits and have her grits progression. Now, he made a pretty big error because she kind of was serving him a progression of different preparations and different mixes, and he was supposed to eat them in order as they were presented to them. But as soon as while she was kind of pretending he was the chef from Dollyland, Scooter forgot the role he was playing and then asked for butter, brown sugar. What do you even put in savory grits? Or do I eat the savory grit? And she was not pleased with him. He was supposed to be being of service and, taking the grits as she prepared them, since she was the chef and the producer, or the kind of whatever you call it, the creator of the grits. And she was very unpleased with Scooter. And in fact, she canceled the tasting, and she said, you need to do more. You need to learn the history of grits if we're ever going to work together again. Now, Scooter took this as maybe a clue. So then he went to the local library and he asked about the history of what goes into producing grits. But he went a little bit back. He went all the way back in history to back when the continents were a little bit more flowing in the actual production of the Blue Ridge Mountains and the creation of them. And that at one point they were very, very high, and then they parts of them slowly wore down over time. How at one point they were connected to these other parts of the world so far away now. And he started to think about the elements of, okay, so how is this connected to the grits, and how is this a clue? And he started to think about the water, because they had thought maybe the water, it couldn't be a way that the water flowing. But he was also even though he had been figuratively knee deep in grits now for weeks, he actually didn't even know the difference between grits and hominy grits, right? And the connection And so this is the only time he kind of stumbled on this. Now, he'd also been given like he always wanted a gadget, like just like other agents would get, he imagined. So this hotel, they'd given him a bottle of water, but not just any water. Again, this was like an area with love of these traditions and people returning to these traditions or rediscovering them. And this hotel had a water menu, which some people might think is like posh, and I guess it is posh if it's, depending on the price, which is the hotel, it's posh. But if you were to go some other place where it wasn't posh, and to be able to taste waters from different springs and different sources, it would be a pretty cool experience. So his was a local artisanal spring water in a water bottle. It was like a reusable water bottle, but definitely posh. But he hadn't opened it because he was figuring it was some kind of gadget, or he would have some sort of practical use for it. And then finally, when he did the history, he was like thinking of like the seas. And he was like, it's got to be the water that the grits soak in, because she's just not making grits. She's making grits as a part of this word he couldn't pronounce, similar to hominy, which has another word, but he was calling it mixelplix grits, but it's not sure I can say the word. It's a way of producing things by soaking the grits in a certain type of water. He didn't quite get any deeper than that. And so then he went with, but his water, he's like, wait a second. Like, so he went to the back to her thing and said, hey, like sorry, like eventually he made an apology, right? And then he said, is it the, like, I see you have different types of corn, including different colors of corn, soaking in different bins, or stills, they would say. And they said, well, where is the water in each of these stills from? And then she said, oh, you've been doing your history a little bit, huh? And he said, yeah. And she said, yeah, I could see you got that artisanal water there. We don't use that one. But yeah, we actually use, it's not straight from the stream here. We'll use stream water and we use the spring water. Now, of course, Scooter, like, he's good at gathering clues, but more like he also gathers other things. So then he was like, okay, which one's which? And she again described some of the process, but she left some of it out. But she did say one is river water, like river water from that river. And the other is a local spring water, not the same as the one he had. But she didn't want to share that because she just said, yeah, I don't know about it. Scooter knew she didn't quite trust the hotel, but he thought that it was he knew something else was going on. So then what happened was that Scooter, of course, waited. Hey, can you go, like, whatever, waited for the phone to ring or something, poured out his water, filled it from the, he did wash his hands, just so you know, really well, because he didn't want to contaminate the grits, and wash outside of his water bottle. And actually they have some sort of sampling ladle. And so he took the water that the grits were, the liquid, by the way, that the grits were soaking in, poured it in his bottle from the one that was from the spring, then went to the spring got a different water, filled it with went to the stream. Then he's like, I got the close, case closed. And they went back and they said, okay, first of all, the river water is all from planet Earth, our world. The other water, it's not just water. There's something else in it, but it's all from planet Earth. But we think you're onto something accidentally, maybe. so where did you, and he said, well, one I got from the stream because she said she uses stream water. The other one she gets from a spring, but she wouldn't tell me the spring. But I just took it from the vat. And then the hotel management, obviously over a series of hours, explained to him, okay, so the water from the vat has other ingredients in there, but all of them are from planet Earth. But the other vat had river water and maybe other ingredients too. And you took it from the river or the stream instead of the vat. But it doesn't even matter. Like, you got to find out, like, maybe that vat has but you need to find out what the other ingredients are. And Scooter said, there's no other ingredients. It's corn. It's the process. And they said, yeah, so figure out what part of the process you're missing. And actually, they said, do your history. Because they were starting to get frustrated with him as well. So he went back to her, and then again he was talking to her about the history, and he'd read more up about Pangea, and she said, you did the wrong history. And he said, oh. And he said, well, listen, I'm trying to help you with this bedtime story. I know something else is going on with you, but I'd love to know more about this history. It sounds really important to you. And she explained to him kind of how this process of grits is not just magical because of the history of the earth, but also the history of the peoples of the earth, that this is this food technology that is indigenous, and that somehow it made its way all the way from the south in Mexico to up here, even though it's used in different ways and in different ways that she's like, this was this human discovery, but almost in an evolutionary way that people were eating corn but not getting everything they needed. And that they figured out this way of processing that you, Scooter, call mixelplix, she explained to him the proper way to determine that the technology developed different in the area now known as Mexico, and that how here it developed in a different way. And he was like, what? And she goes, yeah. He goes, well, can you tell me, and then she goes, yeah, I'll take you out. Remember, all the smells of, burnt wood. She goes, well, here we use, basically burnt wood. She's like, to explain it to you. She goes, but in Mexico, they use burnt limestone, more or less. She said, don't ask too many questions, Scooter. And she goes, so that's part of my process is that I use different waters and then different alkalines based in two different kind of traditions in different corns. And then I combine everything together. And Scooter's like, well, that's some absolutely, he was amazed because he's like, this is like a bedtime story. And he goes, I think I could tell you a bedtime story, but I don't know if it would be as good as your real story. And she goes, well, what do you mean? And he goes, why don't walk me through all the stages of the process? So she did, and that the wood ash was combined with the spring water, who she did tell him, okay, it's this limestone spring, and that it goes through this limestone spring, and then she's like, whatever. She's like, so, yeah, she goes, that's this and this particular corn. And so it creates all these flavors. And then she goes, but it's also all these different chemistries and organic things happening and the magic. And she goes, and then the magic here is that it's river water, which is more loamy. It's going through these wooded areas. and it's been in contact with leaves and mud. Normally people like, on its own, it might be a different flavor, but she goes, then I choose a corn. And then she goes, and then I have this limestone, and that all comes together with this one. And I think he kind of knew, surprisingly, but innately, it's limestone. And he's like, well, what if your story is like he goes, what if this is like a bedtime story and we're in it right now? And she goes, what do you mean? And he goes, well, what if he goes, this is so impressive. I can only imagine Dolly hearing the story, but Scooter goes, it's in the specifics, right? And she goes, well, what do you mean? And Scooter goes, okay, this is what's important. And this is maybe what would, that the hotel didn't get enough from you. Maybe it's not that the hotel's trying to take your recipe. It's that they're not leaning into all of the specifics. And she goes, well, what do you mean? He goes, okay, this is a story. Like, this is what Dolly and the people dining with Dolly would want to hear, like, of all of this. Like, imagine you're presenting this, just like on these shows. And she goes, I don't watch the cooking shows. Scooter's like, well, you should, because then you could tell the tale of the water, of the history of the earth, and of this technology, or you could work with them to tell this story. And he goes, well, where's the wood from? And she told him, and then he said, okay, so we know where the water's from and where the corn's from and who made the corn and the process of making the corn. And you could chart the path of this water for this stream and your mill and the history of your mill and this corn. And then he goes, and then where's the limestone from? And that's where she kind of hesitated and kind of was aloof about it. And Scooter said, okay, what if Dolly had a favorite limestone? And I think there's probably limestone used in some of the construction or a favorite lime. And she goes, well, what do you mean? And Scooter goes, well, why can't you change the recipe a little bit? She goes, it'll lose the magic. And he goes, no, this is a bedtime story about magical maple and their grits mix. And I think that you find that must be the missing pieces of the limestone. And you find a limestone that's connected to something in Dolly's history. That's your one opening still. And you use that limestone as a part of this last piece, because how magical could be the limestone you're using be? Or if you don't know that much about it, maybe it's not that magical. Maybe someone's just, it's not part of the story. Maybe you could just edit the story. And she was like, well, I'm not sure. And I'm not sure you're doing. And I said, well, I'll tell you what, I'm pretty sure that makes a good bedtime story. And that if I was working with Dolly and I heard, and the last piece that's different from the hotel's grits that we're moving away from now, when I'm making these grits, the last piece will be this, that we're using this limestone. And why don't you see what happens? Then he could taste those grits and the hotel's grits. And that's what ended up happening. But Scooter also knew one last feature was that the hotel grits were fake, a fake version of her grits anyway. And so when the chef from Dolly's restaurant and his staff came and sampled the grits first, she said, these are the grits I've been preparing for the hotel. And I'm in an exclusive contract with them. And they're really good. And the chef's like, yeah, these are pretty good. These are good. Wow, these are great. She goes, but I didn't think that was good enough for Dolly. I think it needed one more piece to the story, which was her own independence from this other world. And she said, so I've sourced this limestone, and this is the first batch I made with limestone. But it's, from this area that's really important to Dollyland and Dolly. And I found, this place where I could get it. And so this is the first batch I made with it. But that's what's different. And I think it does add a little bit slight difference as a part of the what I can't say, but it's part of the hominy process. But it's different. And we love this story. And then the contrast between her new real grits and the hotel's counterfeit grits, in a sense, they were like, we'd love to work with you exclusively, as be a part of Dolly's team. We think your approach to this is just, we know you have a background in education. We think that you could really do a lot for Dollyland, and Dolly would love to meet you. She's really hands-on. And so she was able to transition away from not just the hotel, but from this limestone. Now, it wasn't Scooter's job to figure out how the limestone was getting to her or who it was, but that was the clue that Scooter was supposed to do. So he did his job as well, figuring out that the piece from the other world was the limestone, but it was also the piece that could get her connected to Dolly and help find the next stage of her dreams. And that it's just amazing that there's this ancient food technology that runs down this entire combination of continents. Pretty amazing. Thanks and good night, everybody.
Hey, everybody, this is Scoots, just running through people who support the show. Not just for themselves, but for you, anybody that chooses not to support the show or just isn't in a place where they can support the show. But if you're wondering when you support, if you've been putting it off or you're on the fence or you're meaning to do it, remember, like these listeners I'm reading through, when you support the show for yourself, you get a lot, something designed, particularly if you listen all night long, you fall asleep fast, you listen multiple nights a week, you have favorite episodes. You're going to get the best listening experience on Sleep With Me Plus because all the podcasts on Sleep With Me Plus are designed with people like you in mind and how you like to listen to the show. And that's what we built Sleep With Me Plus for super listeners, for people that have an opinion about the show and have a certain listening style. But then you also get peace of mind. If you do count on the podcast, you don't think you could replace it with something else. You know it's going to be there. And on top of all that, you're a part of something way bigger than me, way bigger than you, that has a positive impact. The reality is thousands of people's lives for each supporter. And so I'm going to read through these ones. The first one is from Rosie, who was one of the rare listeners who loved the show from the first time they listened, became a supporter after that first listen. Why? It entertained me, distracted me, and helped me relax enough to fall asleep. Still supporting the show. I never felt any obstacle to supporting the show. I started supporting it. I support other sleep podcasts, and I always return to Sleep With Me. And it feels great. I want the show to never end, so I'm happy to support it. Good sleep is priceless. I love the humor and wisdom, compassion, normalizing of brain bots. And my favorite is all intros that Bore Besties and Bore Friends get a feed full of all intros that come out twice a month in addition to the all intros we regularly put out. And I feel like you do a great job at communicating, connecting people with the support team for tech help. And I have a memory of an intro involving walking on peaches, but I never heard it again. Well, thanks, Rosie, for supporting the show. Next up is Sherry, who started listening to the show after reading an article in a magazine in 2015. And I started listening to the free show, but my use was sporadic, which is kind of a normal way to listen. And I had a big uneaten, not easy life event. And I knew I would need much more support in all caps and would listen all night long as I went through this. Scoots was the best Bore friend I could ask for. I knew I needed to support something that was supporting me so much. And my biggest obstacle was cost when I didn't support the show. Even then, absolutely everything I wanted to support the show. But at the time, cost stopped me. But I feel great now being able to make a difference, not just in my own life, but in the lives of others, including everyone who works to bring the show to people listening, and that made me feel great. My favorite thing about this podcast is how easily it sends me off to sleep and helps me, keeps me asleep. Allows my brain a break from all this overwhelming stuff I'm dealing with, so I can go through that process and get a good night's sleep and resume processing things during the day. And I do have everything set up. My favorite is the regular ad-free episodes. I also enjoyed the readings of Frankie and Victor. Victoria, I was thinking of Victoria. She's on the ride in Universal. Sorry, tangent there. And I think you're doing a great job of communicating. The first time I listened to the podcast, I fell asleep. I adore Scoots and everything related to the show. Thanks. And last, we're going to run through Ruth. Hey, Ruth. I'm an Italian woman, and having a kind and funny boyfriend in the deep dark nights when it happens I'm awake is invaluable. I'm over 50. I've always suffered from insomnia since I was a child. No one was ever there with me until Scoots arrived. He makes the night less deep and dark, less lonely. He makes me smile. He's adorably goofy, and that's what I like the most, and makes him different and standing out. The tone, continuous talking. This is great for falling asleep. Besides this, a humble and kind, nice, a real loving attitude towards human beings. I feel like he deserves my gratitude and my support. I understand Scoots involves a lot of time and energy into planning and effort to produce this wonderful podcast, and I want to give something in return for this. I will always be grateful to our common boar bestie for his support to us during our sleepless nights. Thank you, dear Scoots, and I want you to be able to be here for a long time, ready to come and rescue me on those hard but no more lonely nights. And I'm still currently supporting the show, even though I don't listen to it as much nowadays. I don't want it to stop. It reassures me to know that Scoots is there in case of need. And I feel like I'm recognizing the value Scoots provides by supporting the show. My favorite thing is that Scooter makes me smile, and his voice is smooth and grateful in a super calming tone. And it sounds like Ruth doesn't even listen to the Sleep With Me Plus content, but if you do, you could set it up. So thanks to everybody that supports the show, Sherry, Ruth, and Rosie in this case. If you relate to any of that, there are other ways to support the show. You could spread the word about the podcast and be surprised by Scoots. You could spread the word about something else that's important in your life other than Sleep With Me. You could support the show directly, because when you do, if you're a super listener, you get the best possible listening experience, but you also you're a part of something bigger. I think I already said it. But those are huge ways. Letting people know about the show is a huge way. And yeah, if you want to be surprised by Scoots, tag me or send me an email. Maybe you'll get a free, if you can't afford to support the show, reach out, spread the word. And if for some reason you just can't support the show, like financially, or you just can't do it, you can't spread the word about it. I know there are people out there, you just say, I can't do either one of those. Or I think there's more people that say, I'm not going to do either one of those. We do have a scholarship program, too, so you could email me through the contact form on our website, share with me, and I can and we have listeners willing to support the show. But the reality is, if you're listening to this and you support the show for yourself, you're already supporting it for other people. So, when you sign up, let me know, and I'll make sure that when I hear from the people that aren't in a place, whatever the place is, where they can support the show financially, or I'm not comfortable supporting this show by spreading the word either, I'll make sure your support goes to one of those people. So you're supporting it for you and a lot of other people too. Thanks, and good night. Oh, by the way, you could always, the best way to support the show's on Sleep With Me Plus. That's at sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus. I can't believe I forgot that. Thanks.